Hello, everyone. Welcome to the fifth and final episode of Countdown to College. This is my series where I drew attention to my journey of battling mental illness, an illness which took me out of university. And I discussed my recovery process in the years since being diagnosed with said mental illness, and more specifically, highlight the time period leading up to my ultimate return to college, which, as it stands right now, is right around the corner. I, as of the time of the uploading of this video, will be returning to college this coming Wednesday. It's so crazy to me, the fact that this is even true. I've come such an incredibly long way, and I wouldn't have been able to do this without all of the supports that I have. So I want to take a moment to thank those that I think have played a paramount role in my ability to recover and make this even possible. First off and foremost is my family. My family's been there in my corner at times during my darkest hours when I was at my absolute lowest, when it felt like there was no light at the end of the tunnel. They were there to remind me of my potential and to really inspire me to get out of the abyss that I found myself stuck in. Second is psychiatric treatment, whether it be therapy, where I learn coping mechanisms, or it be the actual medications that I take on a regular, consistent basis. I think both of those things have been vastly important to maintaining my stability and empowering me to be able to get into this position where I'm at now, where I can safely return to college and be in a productive state as I do so. And thirdly, I want to thank each and every one of you who've joined me on this YouTube journey. We're at 1,150 something subscribers now, which is absurd to me and more than I thought that I would ever have when I started this channel. So I'm grateful to each and every one of you. A few years ago, I came out of a manic episode that lasted 6 months. For 6 months of my life, I was subject to a wide array of delusions and hallucinations, which impaired my ability to focus, obstructed my social relationships, and really just sent my life on a downward spiral as I lost my job, I lost my education. My life came crumbling down around me. It felt like a part of me had died. The position I'm in now wouldn't have been possible were it not for the content that I actually disseminated across this channel. It started off initially with me needing some source of assistance, me needing some type of help in order to power through the demons that I was dealing with. And one of the initial ways I did that was by uploading reaction videos on this channel, primarily to George Carlin's stand-up comedy. My favorite comedian by far. I think he's the greatest comedian of all time. That's another story. Anyhow, those reaction videos got me laughing. Those reaction videos got me thinking about deeper topics beyond myself, beyond the circumstances that I found myself in. And as a result, I started to gain ambitious feelings again. I started to feel proud and capable again. Like, I started to look in retrospect at everything that I've achieved up to this point in my life, and I recognized that that manic episode does not define me. That manic episode was just one singular period of time in my 20 plus year journey, and it does not fully encapsulate what I'm capable of. What I'm capable of, I've done public speaking competitions. I've won so many public speaking competitions. I've done DECA, where I won first place in my district, first place in my state, and then competed at internationals. I've been on so many competitive mock trial teams where I have had judges come to me and say that you're more well-spoken than actual attorneys I've seen. I've served in capacity of student government and served on faculty senate councils as student representative, and I've done so much. I've achieved so much. For someone who comes from the background that I do, an impecunious financial background of having little to no money, extreme poverty, of not having the resources. When I was in high school, I didn't even have internet Wi-Fi at my home for the majority of the time in order to work on my school assignments. So in order to do my assignments, I had to walk to McDonald's, whether it be rain or snow or extreme heat. It didn't matter. I had to walk to McDonald's, and I would sit down in the McDonald's, and I would connect to their Wi-Fi in order to complete school assignments for my honors and advanced placement courses. I did what I had to do in order to ensure that I have the best opportunities possible, that I have the greatest opportunities available to me, that I'm taking and seizing advantage of said opportunities. And so I've come so far. And in this position now where I'm returning to school, and in the weeks leading up to this, I've been preparing myself. I've been reading more. I've been writing more. I went on a tour of my campus. I attended on the 26th a transfer student orientation event at my new university where I got to meet other students, and it was mostly just watching presentations. But those presentations were extremely valuable. They taught about the eclectic range of resources available to students on campus, like the counseling department. They have a leadership office that helps students find the right clubs for them. They have a career workshop office that helps students craft and further polish their resumes in order to stand out to employers. There's so much available at this campus, and I couldn't be more excited to be getting started. For this final episode of Countdown to College, I've so far recapped how far I've come. So for those of you who are new here, you now know where I was to where I am now. I went from a place of suicidal ideation to truly ecstatic happiness. I went from a place where I was in the abyss to where now I'm at like the apex of the tallest mountain available to myself. And I've attributed in this video respect and credit to the three categories that I believe were so paramount to me coming out of that phase. And one last thing I'll say about the third group, which is you all, is that I wouldn't have thought it possible for me to be where I am today were it not for words of encouragement, thoughts of positivity, and everyone on this channel who has at one point or another commented and stood in my corner and said, hey, I resonate with what you're saying, or what you said inspires me, or I admire your strength. It's words like that that have helped me persist and get to this point to where I am at today. If it wasn't for you all, there's no doubt in my mind that I'd be returning to college right now. There's no doubt in my mind that I would still be in a profound depression. So in many ways, this YouTube channel has been a sort of experiment, an experiment in which I've conducted myself with honesty and straightforwardness of the highest degree. I turn on my camera, I never have a script, and I just kind of unleash it all out there, what the thoughts are going on in my mind, whether I'm at a low point or a high point. And there have been many, which you would see across my channel, especially if you take a look at my playlist, Bipolar Breakdown, where I discussed my manic episode and what it felt like, and the depressive episode that followed, and the loss of relationships, the loss in general, the trauma that developed, the recovery process, the lessons I learned. That playlist has over 80 plus videos now and is continuing to grow. And it's my intention to keep that playlist going, even though I'm now in a positive place, because I feel like it's important to highlight for people that just because you're in a dark place now, it does not mean that you'll be in a dark place forever. Every moment in our life is kind of ephemeral. It's incredibly short-lasting. And for a long time in my life, it was a part of my modus operandi to think that the present moment was going to be ad infinitum, that there was going to be no end in sight to the depression and despair and anxiety, fear, doubt, and uncertainty that I felt. But it did come to an end. And that's what's so important. It came to an end, and even though a part of me died, a new me can emerge. A new me has emerged. I would, in some sense, even go as so far as to say that I'm confident again. I'm happy again. I'm forward thinking again. I'm ambitious again. I have goals that I've laid out for myself. I'm taking proactive actions now that will be beneficial to myself years down the line. Even on days where I'm not feeling at my peak, even on times where I'm experiencing the lowest of lows, I still adhere to this idea that was spread by President Calvin Coolidge when he said the words, "Nothing in this world can take the place of persistence. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent." I know without question that my persistence and determination have had no bounds recently, been truly limitless. I don't think there's a limit on what I could achieve, what I aspire to be, insofar as I maintain that persistence, insofar as I am diligent and committed toward the pursuit of my goals. I know that it's possible. I'm going back to college. I worked a job as a shift manager at a popular retail pharmacy chain and got back in the workforce and saved up money to make this even possible. I lost some weight, not a lot, but some weight, which indicates to me that it's possible for me to get this weight off that I've put on. This astronomical amount of weight that I put on my body, it's possible to get off. And that means a great deal to me. And it means a great deal to me to have you all here with me on this journey of recovery. So what have I been doing recently in order to prepare for this new school year, and what do I have in store during the school year? Those are the two topics I'll close this video on. Well, I mentioned reading and writing. The writing specifically is applicable to journal entries primarily, but also note-taking from an advanced placement history textbook for the United States history that I purchased in order to just practice note-taking again. And outside of writing, I've also been doing a lot of reading. Presently, I'm reading Atomic Habits by James Clear, and I have 2 books ready and lined up to begin reading once I complete that. So I have a line of books assembled to get through. And it's my intention to read these books even throughout the school year, not necessarily just stop and focus exclusively on class academics. Of course, I won't read anything at the neglect of my class academics, but when there is time that I have space available in my schedule to read something that I personally want to read for my personal benefit, then I'm going to make sure that I take advantage of that opportunity. Because reading is powerful. Knowledge is power. It opens us up to a whole wide world of possibility. And in that realm of possibility is the ability for ourselves to be successful and reach our highest potential. So outside of reading and writing, I've also looked at reviews of the different professors I'm taking. For those of you who don't know, there's a website called Rate My Professor that's used nationally, probably globally too, where you could look at reviews written by students who've taken specific professors, and you could get an idea of how difficult their courses are, how fair the professors are, what their attitude and perspective is, and they're rated on a scale of 1 through 5 based on all those different factors of course difficulty, the affableness of the professor, and their availability during outside of class hours and so forth. And from what I've seen, I got a good mix of professors that seem like they'll be challenging, and I got as well some professors who supposedly their courses are kind of a cakewalk, but none of it's a cakewalk, right? You have to apply yourself. You have to do the work. It takes doing the work in order to be successful. Showing up is a big part of the equation. And then that's not the only part, though. In order to get the best possible result, you then have to fully apply yourself in order to get the best possible outcome on any given assignment or situation. So I'm ecstatic about that. That's one thing that I've done for myself, that I've taken upon myself to do, is to kind of just look through that. And I've also looked at the syllabuses of my different courses for the classes that have posted them. Not all of them have posted the syllabuses yet. I'm assuming they're going to wait till the first day since they haven't done so yet. And just getting an idea of what I'll be doing over the course of the semester. And as someone who adores public speaking, I'm happy to see that there's presentation assignments. I love presentations. Another thing I've noticed about my classes is that none of them are like these gigantic augmented halls full of hundreds of students, lecture auditorium style courses. I think the most populous class of mine at the present moment is 32 students. So all of the classes I'm taking this semester are 32 students or less, which has a lot of benefits. One that I'll name is that I do want to go to law school, and in order to do that, you need letters of recommendation. By being a part of these smaller classrooms, it gives me a greater opportunity to stand out and get time from the professor, and in order to acclimate myself to the professor and get them to get a better sense of who I am and what I'm capable of and what my aspirations are, so that it's easier to obtain letters of recommendation than it would be if I was in a lecture auditorium style classroom with hundreds of students where the professor could not possibly remember the name of every student. That's the benefit of having these 32 student or less classrooms, is you get to know your professor and your classmates on a more personal to personal basis. So I have a lot to look forward to. I have a lot that I'm happy about, a lot that I'm excited about. The next steps for me right now are that I have convocation Tuesday of next week, right after Labor Day, which from my understanding is an event where all new students, whether they be first years or transfer students, are welcome to the campus, and basically just there might be like activities. I'm thinking back to UMass and what it was like there. I'm not sure if it will be the exact same, but at UMass there were like activities and events where you can meet other people and have icebreakers. So I'm excited for that as well. And after that is the beginning of classes, the day after, Wednesday. My first week, I'll actually only have 2 days of classes, Wednesday and Thursday, because my schedule is constructed in such a fashion that I only have class Monday through Thursday. And Monday's Labor Day, so no class. Tuesday isn't the start of classes, so no class. That's convocation day. And then Wednesday, Thursday, I'll be able to experience each of my classes before the conclusion of week 1 and get a better taste of what's to come going forward. 3-day weekends, I think, are going to be a powerful asset to myself in terms of recovery, not getting overwhelmed, not allowing the stress to burden myself to a point where it becomes an issue to my mental health. So I've been assiduously committed to doing everything I can to make sure this semester goes as smoothly as possible. I am holding myself to a high standard because I've taken so many steps and I've gone so outside of the box to get myself to the position I am today. And I want to make sure that I'm taking advantage of the opportunities that have presented themselves to me. So that's it for this video. Thank you all so much for watching. During the college semester, expect a series. This won't be a video every day because I'll be focused on work and such, but my intention is to do a video a week at the end of each week. It's a 13-week semester, so I'll be recapping each week of the semester, just delineating, giving you an idea of what went down, how things went, how it started, how it ended, for those who are interested in following my story. And we'll see and gauge how much interest there is in that. If there's not too much interest, I'm not sure it's something I'll continuously do. But for those who are interested in following someone's journey who went to the absolute abyss, depression, after a life-threatening manic episode, but who rebounded and through arduous work and persistence was able to recover, this will definitely be the series for you, because this is the cherry on top. This is not the final chapter of the story, but this is the turning point, right? This is the part where things start to get better. Every moment has been leading up to this moment, and that's what's so critical. Thank you all for watching. Please subscribe if you're new. Please like the video so that more people can see it. And if you have any questions or anything that you want to share, please put it down in the comments down below. Thanks. Love, light, and tranquility to all. Peace, y'all.